By the Aggies, and Pryor defended by Maddie McDaniel. So a shift in the starting five for head coach Dawn Staley. Gamecocks currently on the one line, according to ESPN bracketologist Charlie Cream. That means every game critical. Pryor with the mid-range, and the Aggies strike first.
What a nice pull-up jumper. If you don't step out with that post on that ball screen, then she has free reign. No contested shot for the knockdown.
Aggies open up in a zone. It's the first career start for McDaniel. And the three, the quick response for Tessa Johnson, leading three-point shooter for Carolina.
If you aren't in her shorts at the start of the game, she's going to knock down threes all day long.
Starting five for the Aggies. Led by Pryor, and her 15 points per game. We'll stay with Texas A&M a minute in. Gamecocks with a 13-4 all-time advantage in the series against Texas A&M. The two schools met as the Aggies joined the SEC more than a decade ago. That's a three, and the response by Johnnet.
That's great, confident offense by Texas A&M right now to knock down threes early in this game.
Do you like Texas A&M opening up in a zone?
I think it's interesting, but you've got to know where Tessa Johnson is. Now, she has a turnover right there. Not quite sure why, but you've got to know where Tessa Johnson is. But for Johnnet right here, for Fats, they call her Fats. Look, that's a confident three-point shooter right there. And she doesn't shoot it at a high percentage, only 28%. But when you're playing the South Carolina, you got to let it go.
Got to let it loose. Here's Pryor, bottled up by McDaniel. She'll get the screen. When Nasira Pryor was out on the court and the traveling violation against Hilton, Pryor was here getting up mid-range shots like that first jumper she hit 90 minutes before shoot-around early today. Was the only player in the gym working on that jumper.
She's got goals, big dreams. She wants her basketball career to continue, so she continues to work on her game every day.
McDaniel off the mark from distance, and a foul inside off the offensive rebound by Joyce Edwards.
Now McDaniel gets the start today. In that Auburn game they just came off of, she had 9 points. She hit every shot she took, her free throws, her twos, her three. But McDaniel brings an energy for defense also.
Pryor in elite company, including company in the building tonight in terms of players that have scored over 2,000 points, 500 assists, 400 steals. You got Nye Pryor and Dawn Staley on that very exclusive list, which is pretty special and pretty spectacular when you think about it.
Well, it's very special, and I'm sure Nasira knows exactly where she is in that pecking order right there, and there's nothing more that she would like to do than to overtake Dawn Staley.
I don't know that anybody overtakes Dawn Staley in anything,
right.
But just to be on the same list,
yeah,
special.
This is a good matchup between McDaniel and Pryor, because both of these can defend. Both of them are very active, aggressive point guards. It'll be interesting to see how they get after each other tonight.
Tied at 5, a shot clock issue, and they'll come back and do it all over again. Pryor versus McDaniel, again a good matchup, Coach, like you said. Pryor at only 5 feet 3 inches tall. Aggies go back to work on offense.
Pryor 5'3", but electric. She is quick, fast, quick hands.
Attack forced the turnover. Johnson lost the handle. Here comes Pryor, her first steal of the evening. In and out, well defended by Edwards. The putback by Johnnet.
Really nice follow right there by Johnnet. But Pryor, you saw how quick she gets to the rim, but great defense right there by South Carolina.
Aggies drop back into the zone, almost daring Carolina to take the open three. Touch for Raven Johnson. Gamecocks almost with 2 point guards in the backcourt with McDaniel and Johnson. No Tanaya Latson tonight. Johnson for 3. And off the mark. She comes up short.
Really good defense by Texas A&M. They gave up the three-point shot to Raven Johnson, but took away the inside shot, and that's part of their defensive plan.
Hilton off the mark, tracked down by Pryor. How imperative is it for Texas A&M to get off to a good start tonight against a team like this, Coach?
It's crucial. It is definitely imperative. because South Carolina can, if you let them get their running game going, that is not a good thing. So they've got to be aggressive on the defensive boards. They cannot let South Carolina hurt them on the O boards. They've got to get there. They've got to make stops.
Gamecocks typically off and running in that first quarter. Team with just 2 losses. The only setbacks coming to Oklahoma and Texas. One of those in overtime. More explosive version of this squad for Dawn Staley. Skip pass to Johnson. Tessa from the corner, her second 3.
That is beautiful offense by South Carolina. Now they're working against this zone. Joyce Edwards easily could have taken that pull-up jumper in the paint, and she finds that great 3-point shooter in Tessa Johnson who knocks it down.
I mean, basketball has evolved in that way, hasn't it? Like you'll take the inside out for the longer 3 with all the great shooters we've got.
That's right. No, some teams just say we're not taking the mid-range, we're taking layups like that one and 3s.
South Carolina extends its lead, 10-7. Ocott on the move with a fast break. Just underway in College Station, 4.5 minutes in. Aggies coming in at 1-7 in the league, 8-9 overall. Corner 3 for Hilton. That's an air ball. Ahead to Edwards.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful basketball right there. Joyce Edwards just looks like a deer running down the floor, right down the middle of the floor, and an excellent pass.
Coach, she's faster this year. You can see the spring in her step.
I agree. She's definitely faster. You know, she's really expanding her game. I think we're going to see her play some 3, maybe some 2 tonight with this. They can put a bigger lineup on the floor. It'll be interesting to see that. So South Carolina.
The basketball, they're doing it again this year.
Yeah, no doubt. When you add a player like a Taniyah Latson who likes to run, that's her style of play. And then Dawn had other players who could play that style also. It puts more points. It gives you opportunities to get more shots on the basket, push pace, get easy shots too.
Edwards off the mark, too strong. And the Aggies rip away the rebound. Shau'jae now with 2 personal fouls was called for the offensive infraction as we went to break. Gamecocks in the midst of a 7-0 run. And without 2 key starters tonight, including Taniyah Latson. Here's Hilton from 15. And Edwards with the box out and the save.
What a great hustle by Joyce Edwards. But I'm seeing her get on the floor more this year. She's playing with a lot of passion on the defensive end.
Heat check for Tessa. And Johnson out with her 3rd triple.
She shoots 46% from the 3. She's shooting 100% right now, 3 for 3. You've got to know where Tessa Johnson is at all times.
15-7, Gamecocks open up their largest lead.
You see Isla McDowell, the freshman for South Carolina, came onto the floor after the timeout. She's getting a lot of really good playing time, and her game is really improving. Now look at this defense right here. That's right. That's your All-American getting on the floor. And the girl Joyce Edwards, and here we go. We find Tessa Johnson on the other end, and you cannot go under any kind of screens. You cannot lose contact with Tessa Johnson.
Franchini checks in, the freshman from Italy, promptly delivers with a mid-range. Make it 15-9. Aggies have opened up tonight in that zone, and they have stuck with it. Johnson to Edwards. Outside to Tessa Johnson, her 4th 3. On fire to start for number 5.
Really like this offense that Dawn Staley's running. They worked on it today in shoot-around. They're penetrating from the top, drawing the defenders and leaving the backside wide open. But if you're A&M, you've got to know that's Tessa Johnson back there in that weak side corner.
18-9. Tessa Johnson with 4 threes to start. Isira Pryor off the screen. Probing right under the rim and rejected. Gamecocks will save it. And they'll call a shot clock violation. Year 4 for Joni Taylor, arriving in College Station from Athens. Her team, 8-9 coming in. Former head coach at Georgia, which you got to know her pretty well during your time at Georgia Tech.
She is an outstanding human being and an excellent basketball coach. She's one of my favorite. Her and Dawn have got to be 2 of my favorite coaches and just wonderful human beings. Young women are extremely fortunate to be able to play under these two women.
Alicia Tornaby's on the floor for the first time. And the pass caroms out of bounds for a turnover. Blistering start for the Gamecocks on the road. 4 of 6 from deep, 6 of 9 overall.
You see the man defense that South Carolina is putting on A&M. Well, nice shot by Pryor right there, but South Carolina's got some of the toughest defense in the country.
Is it just the length, or is it the quickness, or all the above?
It's all of the above. They've got length, quickness. Their size can be incredibly intimidating.
Ocott, the baseball pass out of bounds.
You know, Pryor is maybe the smallest player on the floor, but she's fearless. That's a beautiful pull-up jumper right there, about 17 feet, and she nails it. She has no fear. You know, she had great success at Sacred Heart, 2-time Player of the Year in that conference, and just did some outstanding things. Now she wanted to come to Power 4 and prove that she could play at this level.
Cheney Spencer on the floor for the first time for A&M, as is Emerald Parker. Shot clock down to 5. Spencer's got to go. 2 shot clock violations for the Aggies here in our first quarter.
You see how it's hard for A&M to get any kind of action to the basket off the bounce. Now Pryor is finding some success, but it's hard to play against the South Carolina defense off the bounce. You need some screening help, off-ball screening help, better opportunities to feed the ball inside.
Raven Johnson, the floater. She comes up short. Great box out by the freshman, Franchini. And the Aggies give it right back.
We're going to get a good look at Tornaby's, the freshman from France. She's going to get probably a lot more minutes tonight with some of the injuries that South Carolina is going through. You only have a 9-man roster tonight, but she needs this. This is valuable playing time for her.
When your roster is down to 9, it obviously impacts you as a head coach in a multitude of ways. What's number one on that list in terms of how it changes things?
Well, you've got 2 starters out, so that affects how things are run offensively. Because you get into a rhythm of how you're playing, and that's probably the biggest thing. Defensively, everybody should be playing hard, and you shouldn't make a difference there. But offensively, it can get you out of whack.
Spencer connects with a mid-range jumper, 18-13. Shot clock is off. And the Aggies trying to weather this early Carolina storm, trailing by 5.
I like the zone that A&M's playing. I think it's slowed South Carolina down outside of those couple of transition baskets that they've gotten off of rebounds. But it's made them really think offensively. It's probably helped lessen the amount of points on the board right now for South Carolina.
First personal, third team foul.
But you can't foul.
So McDaniel was fouled on the move. Webster picks up her first. Maddie McDaniel, first career start tonight, 68% free throw shooter. We remind you, coming up Thursday night, another ESPN Play for K women's basketball doubleheader. First place in the ACC at stake. Up first, it's Duke at Louisville. Cards playing some great basketball. It's at 7 Eastern. Then LSU at Texas. Top 5 matchup, a rough and rugged SEC at 9 o'clock Eastern. That is Thursday on ESPN. Couple of free throws. There goes Pryor. Corner 3 rejected. And that will end our first 10 minutes.
How about
Gamecock shooting 60 confidence to it when it's in her hands. Feels like it's going in.
Well, it's a beautiful shot. She's got great rotation, and she has plenty of time tonight to load up and get that shot off.
4 threes, the most in a game in a single quarter this season. The sharpshooter, Tessa Johnson, now a junior. Aggies force the empty possession. Critical start here in our second quarter. Emerald Parker, the bounce pass on the back door, and there's Pryor.
Boy, beautiful back door. Ali McDowell out hard in the passing lane, and Pryor read that. Nice cut and nice pass.
Will Tessa's shooting get Texas A&M out of the zone?
It could. It definitely could.
The lead cut to 3.
It's great anticipation by Pryor. She saw the ball long before it got out of South Carolina's hands, and she was in the passing lane for the steal.
And the former player of the year in the NEC at Sacred Heart. Head coach Jessica Minetti. Now in the SEC, an open three off the back iron. Tessa Johnson claims a rebound off the bounce.
And they get that rebound because Turnaby's, who's like 6'7", just tipped it back out to a teammate.
We talk about a size advantage with Turnaby's. The held possession goes back to Texas A&M.
So you're going to see this backdoor cut. Isla McDowell hard in the passing lane. And Pryor, great job reading that, and that's exactly what you do to relieve pressure.
Aggies out of their motion offense. Jordan Webster.
It's just been so difficult for Texas A&M to get any kind of really smooth offense running in the half court.
High off the glass for Blow, and it's tapped out of bounds.
The ball pressure by every position on the floor right now by South Carolina is really bothering Texas A&M. But, you know, we saw them negate that with that backdoor cut by Pryor. Probably need to see a little bit more of those backdoor cuts.
Don't forget our ESPN2 Super Tuesday men's college basketball doubleheader. We start in the SEC, 7 Eastern. Ole Miss squares off against 25th ranked Tennessee. And in the ACC, SMU hosting NC State, both also on the ESPN app. Parker at the free throw line. And Emerald, 8 of 15 of the stripe this season. Here comes Texas A&M. Gamecocks now without a point in the last 4+ minutes. Field goal, I should say. 1 of 2 at the line for Parker.
You know, A&M's man defense is pretty tough itself. I know that they were trying to change things up with that zone just to get South Carolina out of rhythm.
The rebound and the foul. Miriam Dowda collects the offensive board, and now we'll shoot 2.
You know, that was a tough shot by South Carolina right there, but A&M just forgot to do the box out part.
Are you good with Johnson shooting the 3 just as a heat check right there?
I am. She's a much more confident three-point shooter this year. And I think she's got to be able to do that. When you know, point guards need to be able to stretch the floor. Not everybody can, but she's definitely improved her range. And so now you've got more weapons outside of that arc to spread the defense out, opens up your inside game a little bit more.
Down to 1 of 2 at the line, 21-18. Take a look at Texas A&M starting to heat up. Nasira Pryor, a couple of steals, guiding an Aggies comeback. Will try to feed the post, finally does. Parker with position and tapped away on the rejection by Dowda. Stolen away by A&M, Franchini.
Well, that was great hustle by Franchini. Good court awareness where the ball was, and get your hand in there for the steal.
Screen for Blow. McDaniel right on top of Pryor, 25 feet from the rack. And a layup, no. Rebound claimed by Raven Johnson.
Right down the middle of the floor again, Joyce Edwards. This is twice we've seen, well, really 3 times we've seen the South Carolina post players run right down the middle of the floor for a layup. Transition defense needs to really pick up for South Carolina, for Texas A&M right now.
Franchini thought about pulling the 3. Instead, mid-range off the mark by Celeste Blow. When you talk about Joyce Edwards and her production this season, 12 points per game last year, now 20 this campaign. And on the offensive glass has been absolutely phenomenal again. Rips away the rebound there on cue, and let's see.
Oh, she's quick off the feet. She's quick off her feet for the O-board. She's quick on her feet, sprinting the floor in transition. Nobody back for A&M to protect the basket, and that's the first thing you get back in transition is to protect the basket from a layup. So Edwards doing a good job running the floor tonight.
Foul was called on Blow. That's her first. Second team foul against Texas A&M. 5-point lead for the Gamecocks, ranked third in the country. Charlie Cream has Carolina on the 1 line, along with Texas out of the SEC. LSU and Vanderbilt on the 2 line, and Tessa Johnson this time for 2. She's got 14.
I decided to get a little closer to the basket that time for that layup. Really nice drive. No help side defense on that.
You buying South Carolina as a 1 seed at this point in time, Coach?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
If you're just tuning in, Gamecocks without 2 starters this evening. And a patient finish in the paint by Parker.
Now that was really good offense by A&M. They were patient with it. They drew some extra South Carolina defenders and found the open post.
No Tanaya Latson tonight. Noah got McKeer. Joyce Edwards, no problem. Gets the roll. She's got 8. And Joni Taylor wants a timeout. (27-20). Halfway home. Roy Philpott, 27-20. 5 minutes and change remaining in our first half.
You see how far A&M's having to start their offense so far outside that 3-point line because of the pressure. But then they get inside. What a really nice move by Flau'jae. I love that name, first of all. Okay, but the move was really good, too.
All right, some confusion there on the inbounds pass, and Edwards did the right thing by not touching it because she basically tapped it back inbounds with just a fingertip, and so the Gamecocks avoid a turnover. But yeah, you mentioned Janae. She just exited the game in the first quarter with 2 early fouls. Now back on the court after the mid-range, Raven Johnson from deep.
Yeah, that has added a really nice dimension for South Carolina, Raven Johnson being a more consistent 3-point shooter.
Raven Johnson this season, 37% from behind the 3-point arc. Gamecocks get it back. I mean, that was one of the observations you made to me several days ago before we even got here, that this South Carolina team has been, and you've seen them earlier this year, just a step faster, a bit more explosive, and they've been more accurate from downtown, right?
Yeah, they have. And Tessa Johnson leads the show in that department, but other players have really upped their game as far as becoming more consistent 3-point shooters. But you go back to just the different, not the different style of play, just a faster style of play for these Gamecocks. And talking to Dawn today, it's like, look, it's your personnel. If you've got the personnel to push pace, you let these players play. And I loved hearing that from her. You know, you're not trying to fit them into a box and run set plays all day and all that. No, let these players play. She's got a bunch of All-Americans, high school All-Americans, all kinds of All-Americans on the floor. Let these players play. And she's, I think, doing a really good job of that this year.
Gamecocks turn it over on the 3-second call. Dawn Staley, it was great seeing her up in Philadelphia at the unrivaled matchup here in the last week in front of 21,000. We asked her about it today, and she's always putting the sport front and center and making sure that she's there. There's a 3 from the corner, Janae Kent.
What a nice knockdown right there. That gives A&M a lot of confidence, but here comes Tessa Johnson, who really needs no help in the confidence department from the 3-point line.
5 threes for Tessa Johnson in our first half. 33-25.
Raven Johnson coming down the floor like a big post player on the block right there. Her growth as a point guard at South Carolina has been phenomenal. You know, she only played 2 games her freshman year before the knee injury. So this is her true 4th year of playing, even though she's a more mature young woman as a 5th-year player. But I love how she's turned herself into a solid point guard.
South Carolina now 7 of 12 behind the 3-point arc. Raven Johnson with 2 threes. The other 5 by Tessa Johnson. Little J&J tonight has worked out quite well for the Gamecocks.
Yes, it has. Unfortunate foul right there by Lauren Ware. Called her for a moving screen, and those are frustrating. Frustrating for players. There's just a little bit of action, a little bit of movement there, and the call happens.
36-25. Went from 3 to 11 just like that.
Well, that's what three-point shooting can do for you. And that's why so many teams now are emphasizing threes. Give me a layup or give me a three. If you've got shooters who can shoot them, it's almost like, you know, Roy, it's almost like a dunk. It's an exciting play. It's a fun play. Sometimes players can shoot them from like 10 feet behind the three-point line, which makes them even bigger. But South Carolina's definitely improved in that area.
Johnson with 7 points, and a lane violation wipes off the free throw. It's the first foul on Pryor. 37-25. Well, the second 7-0 run we've seen for the Gamecocks tonight create this separation. Pryor picked up by Johnson. Off the skip, there's Hilton. Open look, couldn't get it to drop. Oak caught the rebound. Well, you know Tessa Johnson wants it. She's just trying to spring free. And the elbow jumper, silky smooth.
That's a player right there, Isla McDowell. Don't forget her name because she's just getting better and better. Her confidence is growing, just a freshman. And she's just from right down the road in Houston, Texas. I bet she's got a little crew of family here today.
Special for her to get that first jumper to fall. Shanae from downtown.
You know that announcer loves saying her name. So it's one of the best names in college basketball. Fats Shanae.
Now it's Johnson, the other end. Edwards collects, and Edwards was fouled. And that's going to be the third on Fats.
Joyce Edwards doing the work on the boards tonight.
Third personal foul.
So Shanae's going to have to go to the bench with that third foul. And Edwards to the free throw line.
You know, and I don't blame Joni for keeping her in the game. You've got to have your best players in the game. Even though she was in foul trouble, yes, she's got 3 now, but you take your chances. So she didn't want this game to get too far away from them.
40-28. Don't forget our NBA doubleheader Wednesday. Nuggets, MSG taking on the Knicks at 7 Eastern. The Thunder, the defending champions, squaring off against the Spurs. NBA countdown tips off our coverage at 6:30. And we'll head back to the other end off the A&M turnover. Webster lost the handle. Gamecocks are in the bonus the rest of the half.
Good defense right there by Isla McDowell. She's big. She's 6'1", 6'2", maybe. I told her today I thought she's grown an inch since the last time I saw her. But she has got those hands up. She gets that good deflection and steal and draws the foul.
Pryor picks up her second. Aggies have spent the majority of this first half in the matchup zone. They've switched out a little bit more with man-to-man recently. Approaching a minute to play. There's Tessa Johnson. And off the deflection, a turnover.
Oh, good defense by Franchini right there for the steal. Get your hands up for the deflection and steal. Joni Taylor really likes this freshman from Italy. Great energy. Just going to keep getting better and better. And she can knock down the 3.
Big bucket near the end of the half. The lead down to 9. Well, the Aggies starting to come to life offensively. Now 4 of 8 from distance.
And the crowd coming to life a little bit. It's taken them a while to get into the game, but they're making a little more noise right now.
Raven Johnson, Pryor, and was there a push-off? There was. That'll be the third on Nycera Pryor.
Well, you've got Franchini coming all the way from Italy right there with the deflection leading to a steal. And look, I'm not just a 4 player. I can shoot the 3 too. Nice shot.
Yeah, great seeing her on the court. Extended minutes tonight. Aggies need it.
They do need it.
And Edwards at the line shooting 2. Joyce Edwards approaching double figures.
You know, both of these teams shooting the 3-ball well tonight. A&M 50%, 4 for 8. And then you've got South Carolina 7 for 12, 58% from the 3.
1 of 2 for Edwards at the stripe. Aggies with a shot clock off. Pryor with a 3, foul stays on the floor to end the half. Little shake and bake. Pryor, not this time.
What a nice look, though. She gave it a good try.
Edwards nearly connects from well beyond 7 in assists per game. Underway to begin our third quarter. Gamecocks with a 10-point advantage and with possession. Raven Johnson on the move. Cleared some real estate. Grabs her own miss, and the bounce pass stolen by Pryor. Coach, I had her as 2 steals in the first half. The official score only had 1. I'm going to give her 3 right now, even though they're probably at 2. The announcing table likes to score these games. Hilton, no. And the rebound claimed by Okot. Gamecocks without 2 starters tonight. And you take a look at Tessa Johnson in her first half. Ties a career high with 5 threes in a game. She did it in 2 quarters. Raven Johnson off the mark. And here come the Aggies.
You know, coming out of halftime, I'd be interested to know what Dawn Staley talked about in the half, because South Carolina realistically has to come out here. They're on a business trip. You cannot waste time in 20 minutes and let a home team hang around you. That's a very difficult ask. So you've got to come out with your head and your heart focused on what the job is, and that is to push pace, defend hard, own the boards. If you want to keep this, go away from here with the win.
The thought there is Dawn Staley wants the absolute most out of her team every minute of the game. And that 10-point lead at halftime is probably not going to be satisfying for her and what she wants to accomplish tonight.
No, I'm sure she would have liked a little larger lead, but this is the SEC. It's hard to play on the road in the SEC, no matter who you are, no matter what your record is.
Johnson for 3, a rare miss. Franchini the rebound.
You know, we saw Mississippi State upset Tennessee at Tennessee, then go home and lose to Missouri. So things like that happen all the time. You have to really handle your business and stay focused.
Hilton. Fade away and saved by Edwards. Still without a point to begin our third quarter, 2 minutes in. And a foul, some contact. Johnson tried to deliver the pass. Kent picks up the personal.
It's got a little bit too much of Raven Johnson's arm right here. She comes on top of the screen, but too much of the arm.
First on Kent. Gamecocks go back to work. Johnson, 0 for 2 to start the third quarter. And the rebound on the run claimed by Hilton. Hilton lost it. McDaniel swiped it, but it went out of bounds.
I love the attack of the basket by Hilton right there, but even better defense by Maddie McDaniel, getting the deflection. Got a hand on that ball.
Yeah, first career start tonight for Maddie McDaniel. It's been an interesting season for her. Remember, she was suspended back on November 11th and reinstated to the team later that month, and now into the starting lineup. And really, I think she's earned the trust of Dawn Staley and her teammates and is taking on a much more important role with the Gamecocks lately.
And they needed her to. They needed the depth at that position, and she's come through for them.
Okot with a transfer from Mississippi State, leading rebounder for the Gamecocks. Janie Spencer back on the floor for Texas A&M.
You know, Okot gives them such a solid 5-player presence inside. She doesn't start anymore. She started most of the season, but not the past 3 games now.
Take some of the pressure off of her a little bit, doesn't it?
Exactly. You know, she's a double-double point scorer, rebounder for you night in and night out. But she's able to handle the ball in transition right here. She gets the steal, takes it herself. I don't need to give the ball up. Just takes it in there herself. That's nice.
That's 6'6" on the move.
You know,
Very fluid way.
She didn't start playing basketball until she was 17 years old. So Dawn Staley has told us there's a lot more in her that she can. Her ceiling is still very high.
Shot clock down to 2. Tessa Johnson to Raven Johnson, and the turnover on the violation.
Well, we talked about it to start the half. The A&M's defense has to stay on point and even elevate more, and they definitely have elevated their defense. They've got to turn that into points now on the offensive end.
Gamecocks were picked first by the media in the SEC preseason poll. Injury to Chloe Kitts happened. The coaches then picked Texas #1 in the preseason poll. When you know both teams right there at the one line, according to Charlie Crane. And Janae Kent, it's the Aggies on the board here in the second half.
Really nice shot right there coming off the ball. Not enough pressure on the ball handler coming off that ball screen.
Euro McDaniel and the drop-off Ocott.
Love that play. I love that. The guard can see the post roll right there. They don't always make the pass, but when they do, it's a beautiful play.
Gamecocks and Longhorns currently projected as 1 seeds. You like LSU, and you think
I
the
do.
Kim Mulkey's team, Flau'jae Johnson, Mylasia Flau'jae, a former South Carolina standout, they could be a 1 seed before it's all said and done, and there's Vanderbilt.
Okay, now I like LSU. I don't think they're going to be a 1 seed, though, because the preseason schedule not strong enough. I think she goes through and finishes strong in SEC play. She's a 2 seed. But I think it would be hard for them to be a 1 seed unless they go to that SEC tournament and win it.
I think that's on the priority list for Coach Mulkey this year. They would love to handle their business in Greenville. And they're a team that's capable with their size and experience. And Flau'jae's now a senior. Flau'jae adds some depth in the backcourt. They're averaging nearly the same exact point total per game this year, even though Flau'jae comes off the bench.
I agree. I think they have every bit of talent to win that tournament, but you're going to have to go right through South Carolina because they've won 9 of the last 11 SEC tournaments.
Say that again?
You heard me. 9 out of the last 11 SEC tournaments have South Carolina's name on that trophy. That's amazing to me.
Shocking when you put it that way. McDowell stepped out of bounds on the dribble drive.
Since 2014, Dawn Staley's program has just taken off, be it winning the SEC tournaments, be it winning the regular season championship, be it going to Final Fours. Amazing what she has done.
You know, you got the telestrator right there. You could circle that middle graphic, 5 straight Final Four appearances.
Yeah.
Upper management doesn't like it when you telestrate over the graphic, but that's amazing to me. 5 straight Final Fours.
So you just led me right into that.
Did.
Right. That's Roy's fault.
47-33, McDaniel halfway home in our third quarter. It's been a low-scoring start here in our second half after a scorching start from three-point range for both sides in our first 2 quarters. Timeout on the floor as we celebrate the life of Kay Yao.
Well, you're probably not going to meet anyone in your lifetime that hasn't been affected by cancer in your family, a close friend. It's so prevalent in our society today. But the most important thing is the early detection, and that can make such a difference in survivor rates, and that's what has to continue to happen.
Aggies back in the zone. Trailing by 14. We appreciate Maddie speaking with us today. Our producer, Caitlin Urka. Gamecocks, Joyce Edwards now. Force one up and drains the mid-range. Contested right in front of Webster.
That might have been the hardest shot on the floor during that possession that she could have taken, and she nailed it. Joyce Edwards is an All-American, and she can do things that most players can't do.
Attack the rejection. Aggies get it back. Gamecocks in the midst of a 6-0 run. Off the spin, Parker launches. Pops right back to Janae.
That's Janae is really having a nice game tonight. She's really been all over the boards right now, and just got 5 boards for the night with the O boards, but playing real confidently. So Joyce Edwards, we've watched her. She's just a sophomore. Feels like she's a senior because we've seen her play so many games, but that was a tough shot right here, right over and in the face of a defender. I wonder if she said something to her like,
It's a tough shot, tough make. Third foul on Parker. Here's McDowell, no. And over the back, foul will be called on Adele Tack.
Gamecocks number 15, Adele Tack.
Well, Aggies get it back, trailing 14. You take a look at the third quarter now, and scoring has been at a premium, just 4 points so far for A&M.
Yeah, that's been the hard part. They've got to be able to keep up offensively as they continue to defend hard. But offensively has been hard for them. Look at Isla McDowell. This freshman is going to be special.
Pryor saved it. Pryor, the bounce pass. Great dish. Parker connects.
Well, that was one of those where your post helped up. She left the block and helped up, and that's one of those cardinal no-nos, and Pryor took advantage of it with the bounce pass.
Attack with position, off the mark. Parker claims a rebound. And here comes Pryor. We talked to Nycera Pryor today. I said, when did you know that you could do it in the SEC the way that you have? Turns it over here, and she said, well, it was the first scrimmage, one against TCU, the other against Texas Tech. And she's been on the move and on the attack ever since. A foul on the Aggies as Edwards fell down. And Flau'jae just picked up her fourth.
Yeah, we're going to see Pryor. We're going to get a replay on this. Pryor really driving right in here. Now, look, you see the help up by Del Tech. Y'all, that is a cardinal no-no. You've got to be able to split two people right there. Now, the first no-no was allowing that middle, the downhill penetration. But you've got to, and it's a hard place. There should be no help there. There should be just a split that Adele Tech does between her man and Pryor. But beautiful pocket pass, and A&M made them pay.
Technical foul was called on Flau'jae after she picked up her fourth, and so Joyce Edwards at the free throw line as a result.
Well, that's a frustrating foul by Fats.
Women's basketball takes over the SEC network every Thursday night. Gamecocks' next game highlights first game of the doubleheader as they host Mississippi State, 6:30 Eastern. Both games available on the ESPN app. Ole Miss and Alabama headed our way too, which, boy, two great matchups. You're going to be in studio for both of those.
I will be. It's always fun to watch those and be able to talk about them, at halftime and after the game. That's really a lot of fun. Mike Neighbors giving great insight in there. He's been really fun to work with.
Does he let you talk more than I do?
He's got great insight. I'm going to tell you, he is a very smart guy. I've been impressed with just some of our conversations and some of the things that we've been able to discuss in the studio with Alyssa Lang.
You guys do a great job. Don Staley's team ahead by 16.
We get to talk about the SEC. I mean, what better studio setup to talk in than SEC Network and talking about women's basketball in the SEC?
Charlie Cream's got 11 teams from the conference in the field right now. Of course, a lot can change between now and March, but we can say next month is March, so it's going to be here before you know it.
It's going to get here so fast, and 11 teams in the tournament, unbelievable. We had 10 in the top 25 a week ago. Georgia dropped out this past week, but very easily could jump back in there. This is just a tough conference.
Raven Johnson picks up her first foul. Talked to Don Staley today, and you mentioned how South Carolina has been in transition more this year. Scoring is up. Aggies in the bonus the rest of the third quarter here. Franchini, freshman from Italy, will get one more. For her, I think it's been fun to watch, and it's a different approach this year. And you answered the question, and she confirmed it to us, that it is personnel-based. So you bring in Tania Latson. Joyce Edwards is on the move and able to get up and down the floor. She did it easily last year, but even more so this go-around. And it's a fun team to watch. It's a bit more explosive.
It is, but let me move to A&M right now. They've kind of shut down the running game today. They've mixed up their defenses, man and zone. It's kind of slowed South Carolina down. But you still have to always be aware of it because they're ready to run, and you got to be aware of Nycera Pryor. What a beautiful three.
Fourth of the season. Aggies back in it, 53-42. Johnson. Gamecocks get it back. Torbees no. And a foul over the back. Tornabees picks up the personal free throws for the Aggies.
These are the best threes in transition. You've got players who are just stepping into their shot on the run. It's the perfect time to take a wide open three. I love a wide open transition three.
So here comes Texas A&M. Gamecocks without a field goal the last 2.5 minutes. And Nycera Pryor encouraging her teammates. Lauren Ware at the free throw line. 71% this season, the first of two.
Roy, Nycera has shot a lot of threes. She hasn't made a lot of threes.
It's just her fourth of the year.
Right. And But for her to have the confidence in this setting right now, how close this game is starting to become, that's a very confident player right there.
7-0 run for Texas A&M. And you can feel the renewed sense of urgency for the Aggies here. Big possession for Carolina against the zone. Johnson, short. Pryor the rebound. Line pass collected by Blow. Back to Pryor. She wants it. And an offensive foul.
Well, that was a great attack at the basket. But just right here at the end, right here, you have
just the clear out on the box out?
I guess the clear out. I didn't see who they called the foul on.
It's on Ware.
And that was it, the clear out.
See if that shifts momentum. Maddie McDaniel, beautiful spin. And contact on the way up will put McDaniel at the line.
Aggies number 2, Jordan Webster. That's her second.
Second on Jordan Webster.
You know, that's just that was unfortunate for A&M. They were getting a little bit of momentum behind them, and to draw that to have that offensive foul happen. But you know, you've got to be able to weather those storms. If you're A&M, you've got the energy in the building picked up here, but you've got to be able to weather the storm when something happens that you weren't expecting.
2 important free throws for the Gamecocks. Lead back to 11. You can feel the confidence of Pryor starting to soar. Off the crossover. Now to Ware, outside to Webster. Tornabees clears.
Again, I go back to Tornabees being on the floor. These are really valuable minutes. She's come from France. She's playing a whole different style of basketball at at South Carolina.
Pryor for 3. What a shot.
Boy, she's on the road with a team that's hungry for an SEC win.
Big possession to open the fourth. Nell Fortner, Roy Philpott, and a foul on the penetration. And the Aggies will start the fourth quarter at the free throw line. Second foul on Tessa Johnson. And by the way, Tessa without a three-point make in that third quarter after 5 triples in the first half tonight. And number 5 in Garnett and White needs to get going. And here's Blow at the stripe, 65% on the season.
And Tessa came out shooting the 3 ball, but just hasn't found her rhythm yet. But you cannot let her, if you're A&M, you cannot let her loose and find those open looks from the 3.
Aggies have done a nice job managing their way defensively between the zone and man. They've started to make some shots, a lead down to 6. Now a 12-2 run to get right back in it.
Yeah, but then extending their man defense a little bit, their zone right there on the make. This will throw an offense out of rhythm right now. A&M, South Carolina just struggling with it a little bit.
Skip pass, dangerous toss, and knocked out of bounds by Pryor.
Yeah, that's a real dangerous pass. That's like a 40-foot pass over there. That's plenty of time for the defender to run, like for Pryor to run in there and get the deflection.
I know this. Coaches don't like those kinds of passes. Former coaches don't like those kinds of passes.
There was another way to get the ball over there.
And Pryor just committed her 4th foul.
Now that's really unfortunate. She was trying to make a defensive play right there, but just a little bit out of position.
Former NEC Player of the Year at Sacred Heart. Helped lead that program to its first ever NCAA tournament win. And just really took that league over by storm. She wanted a bigger challenge. She had a chance to go to the Big East out of the portal. Decided she wanted to take her talents into the heart of the SEC. And she has done so in a big way at Texas A&M.
I love that. She did that. She bet on herself that she could play at this level. She needed to prove it to herself. I'm sure she wants to continue her basketball career professionally. And you've got to have these opportunities to make those things happen.
Johnson off the mark. Pops over to Tessa Johnson. Off the miss from Raven. Corner three. McDowell, no. And how about this opportunity right now for A&M? A three-pointer, and this is a one-possession game.
This is a big possession for Texas A&M right now. Without Pryor on the floor, and they need offense.
Jordan Webster, no.
I think Raven Johnson was looking for a foul right there. Didn't get the call. Move on. Next play.
And a foul inside against the Gamecocks.
Might have been a little bit of a frustration foul by Raven, just going a little bit too hard. Still thinking about the play on the other end that she didn't get the call. This is dangerous territory for South Carolina right now.
Blocked on the three. That was McDowell. Aggies get it back. Shot clock down to 7. Chaney Spencer. Off the pump fake. Force one up. And she will call the timeout inbounds. Oh.
You can win the game. That's one of the biggest things that you have to instill in your team is the belief that you can always win.
The Aggies believe the Euro and the foul. Celeste Blow back to the free throw line.
Now this is going to be a real problem for South Carolina if they keep sending A&M to the free throw line. It is not what you want to do. You want to get out of the possession, strong defense, get out of the possession, and get down to the other end for some offense.
Aggies love to get to the stripe. 7 of 8 tonight. 2 more for Blow. 65% free throw shooter. Now 3 for 3 this evening. Wichita State transfer. And Dawn Staley, -2 starters. No Tania Latson this evening. No Agat McKeer. That has proved to be problematic, and the lead down to 4. It was once 16.
Here's that extended zone defense right now, just slowing South Carolina down, making them think about what they want to do offensively a little more than they like to.
Raven Johnson eyes McDaniel. The dump off. Turnabese, no. She'll get back her own miss and gets fouled by Ware.
Now I'm going to speak like a coach right here because this is one of the things you've got to work with your big kids on using the glass. That is one of the hardest shots to hit right there that Turnabese just tried because it's just such a sweet little touch shot. That's not an easy shot. But you've got to be able to use the glass on that. It makes that a much easier shot.
2 of 2 at the line this year. 1 more coming, now 2 of 3. Allie Turnabese, playing in just her 6th game of the season, makes 1 of 2. Now the Aggies trailing by 16, then execute the 14-3 run. Brand new ball game, 7.5 to go.
Medina Okot back on the floor. They need her experience inside, her size to take care of the boards.
He'll feed Ware inside. The spin, too strong. Franchini with a rebound, and there was lower body contact. Well, she's been a force tonight at times.
She has been, and Joni even
pulled up with a freshman.
I'm just going to say it. I'm not sure about that call, but it was called, but that was a little bit of not much.
Normally, you're on the side of the officials.
Look,
I've noticed this about you. You support their calls 4 times than not.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe I'm just being nice on that, but when I disagree, I disagree.
Point blank miss by Blow. Gamecocks and Joyce Edwards retrieve it. Now some tense moments in Aggie land.
You see the mixing up of the defenses. A&M going man on a miss and zone on a make. Again, making South Carolina kind of stop and think about what they need to do offensively.
Tessa Johnson to Edwards off the fake. Silky smooth.
They need a lot more of that offensively. Joyce Edwards has to get involved in this offense and bring that experience. to the table right now.
Coach, she's got 16. Tessa Johnson with 19 to lead the charge for South Carolina. And Nycera Pryor still on Joni Taylor's bench. Blow gets fouled and hit the deck.
You know, Joyce Edwards has such a nice pull-up jumper right here. Just confident, beautiful shot fake. Uncontested little 15-foot pull-up right there. She's just a consistent offensive player. When the ball's in her hands, usually good things happen.
In your mind, 6 minutes of play, when does number one for Texas A&M get back on the court?
Probably at the timeout. When we had that media timeout coming up, she'll be back on the floor. Because right now, A&M's playing pretty well. They're hanging in this game, keeping it close, only down 6, so Joni can afford to rest her a little more. Well, it's not rest, it's just keeping her on the side.
58-53. We got a 7-1 team in the SEC tonight, ranked number 3, projected as a number 1 seed, leading by just 5 against a team that's only had 1 SEC victory thus far. McDaniel kept the dribble alive. Johnson would have been enormous, and a foul. Edwards able to track down the rebound right under the rim. It goes against the Aggies.
Well, I love the play. I thought that was a really well drawn up play. Little double drag screen, and then Tessa pops off of it for the 3. It was a good look at the basket. But one of the best things Joyce Edwards does is she just goes to the boards and gives her team another opportunity here.
Second foul on Ware. Gamecocks have it. The lob to McDaniel. Bounce pass to Edwards on the move. Force one up and down. 18 for Joyce Edwards.
She's so tough, Roy. She just is. I just think she's got to see the ball a little bit more. And the other thing I think South Carolina's missing right now is getting that ball inside to Okot. She's got her defender behind her. Put the pressure on that defender right there to guard her.
Spencer, no. Raven Johnson clears. Halfway through our 4th quarter. Edwards on the attack. And Joyce Edwards will shoot 2.
Well, you see she's touching.
Offensively, Edwards at the free throw line shooting 2.
A really great job by Pryor's teammates to just really continue to play hard and keep this game within shot of upsetting South Carolina.
A couple of free throws makes it a 9-point game. Aggies had 2 possessions to make it a 1-possession affair just moments ago.
You know, it's interesting also about Pryor. She talked to us about wanting to play at this level, to see if she could play at this level. This is just the game she dreamed about, playing in this kind of situation.
Mid-range off the mark, and Edwards climbs the ladder for the board. Well, Joyce Edwards, such a physical presence on both ends of the floor. Her size and agility, production has skyrocketed in her 2nd season. The South Carolina native on cue.
Beautiful play. Just took advantage of an overplay and a backdoor read by Joyce, and then a little bit of maybe eyeball contact between her and Raven Johnson. That's simpatico between the point.
In the corner 3 out of the timeout. Off the mark by Kent. Gamecocks claim the rebound. And new momentum in this 4th quarter, now leading by 11.
You feel like there's a little breathing room now. You feel the players feel that.
I mean, this is what league play is all about. You get to early February, it becomes a grind. We talked about that with Dawn Staley today. And the one question we had for her is, how do you change in how you deal with your team on game day when you're really in the heart of SEC play? And she said, well, you dial back the shoot-around days a little bit more. Practices get a little less strenuous and become shorter. You're trying to save legs and make sure that everybody is well rested. McDaniel came away with the steal, gets tripped up by Pryor. And for Nycera, that's going to be her 5th. So Pryor's going to foul out. Jaunet already fouled out after picking up the technical. And an incredible performance for number 1 for Texas A&M comes to a close tonight. And Joni Taylor offering her encouragement.
It's just so unfortunate that that's how she fouled out. You know, she was trying to go for the ball, thought she was trying to make a play, and fouls out. But look, her teammates have really done a good job while she was on the bench. This game has a lot of time left in it. You know, back to your comments about Dawn Staley talking today, she said quality over quantity. My bad. So practice doesn't have to last that long. You just have to get the quality out of it. You have to get the hard work, the teaching done, the learning done.
Gamecock show trapping zone pressure in the midst of a 7-0 run. Edwards at the top of the zone. That is an imposing force. Try to pass the basketball around or over. Gamecocks get Mississippi State on Thursday, Lady Vols on Sunday, and then don't look down, but Valentine's Day down in Baton Rouge. And what a scene that's going to be. Game day's going to be there. Get all these ranked foes on the horizon. That LSU game, coach, in particular, Mylasia Flau'jae against her old team, and just screams, you know, a third weekend in the tournament kind of matchup between those two rivals.
No doubt. And it's on Valentine's Day. So what is Kim Mulkey going to be wearing on that during that game? That's something to look forward to also. That's going to be phenomenal. But the way Duke has come back into this season after the slow start back in November and December, boy, Carol Lawson has them turned around and really headed in a great direction.
Jeff Walsh's team playing some pretty good basketball as of late, too.
He's a fantastic coach. He does a great job of punching his players' buttons and getting the most out of them. I have mass respect for what he gets done at Louisville. And look, what a game between Louisville and South Carolina earlier in the year.
Approaching 2 minutes to play. South Carolina in a much more advantageous spot. 8 minutes into this fourth quarter than how it began. Off the hill, Edwards, another rebound, and Joyce Edwards, her incredible work this evening. 22 points, 12 boards, another double-double, and just an absolute force in the SEC once again.
Well, she turned it on towards the end of the third quarter and all in this fourth quarter, and it has been pretty much the Joyce Edwards show.
On the attack, the blocking foul, late whistle, but Edwards back to the free throw line.
She's just so versatile, Roy, where she can put the ball on the floor, she can screen and roll, she can. The only thing I see Joyce needing to add to her game is that three-point shot. You know, to be able to stretch the floor, and that's something that she's got to continue to work on.
She's got time to do that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm a firm believer that any player can add that to their game. You just have to spend quality time. Maybe that's where the quantity comes in, quantity time in the gym to perfect your three-point shot.
Blows back on the floor, and Spencer to the Texas A&M bench. Aggies played well tonight. Now trailing by 14. They battled back. Gamecocks without two starters. That certainly played a factor in what we've seen.
Yeah, I love this 1-3-1 that South Carolina's playing right here. Joyce Edwards at the top of it. Now, there's your vulnerable spot in that zone in the corners. Trying to change things up a little bit, make A&M think about their offense, but they did give up that three.
Kent, the LSU transfer, lead back down to 11. A&M needs a stop. A couple of quick buckets. Gamecocks have been tested tonight on the road. Edwards down low. 26 on the board for number 8 in white.
Really good offense by South Carolina, attacking the elbows against that zone and then beating them in the back cut on the back door on the baseline.
Edwards gets the steal. Joyce Edwards.
Has she just taken the game over? She really has. She's shown us a lot of different, in a variety of ways.
28 and 11. 4 dimes as well for the sophomore from Camden, South Carolina.
She's got so much experience. She plays USA basketball. She's won gold medals with USA basketball. She will be an Olympian one day. I can't imagine her not being. But she's done just about everything you can